Welcome to yet another video as we try to help each other in navigating this difficult period of trying to get our way around the ZEP. Thank you so much for the support, for liking and subscribing to this channel. This helps us work harder and give you more information that is accurate. I've received quite a number of comments from the last video. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. To those that have not subscribed, please do so. We will appreciate it so much. Okay, guys, let's get into it. A lot of information is going out, guys, based on the circular that the Home Affairs Minister put out last week. So before we go any further, I want us to listen to what the doctor said, the Minister of Home Affairs. I'm gonna play a clip, then we'll delve into the merits and merits after I've played this clip. Please listen carefully.
I wonder at what point I'll stop introducing people like Leon Schreiber as the new or relatively new Minister of X, Y and Z. Leon Schreiber is the relatively new Minister of Home Affairs and joins us now. Leon, good afternoon. Leon, are you there?
Good afternoon, John. How are you?
I'm in good health, and yourself?
I'm fine, thank you.
Before we talk about the detail, this little tweak that has come in, what is your position on the ZEPs and I'm not sure where it is. I know there have been court challenges. I'm not sure whether those are being abandoned. So where do we stand with the ZEP process?
Yes, well, I think the position has to be what the court told us it should be. And remember, this case went all the way up to the Constitutional Court, which said that we need proper public consultation to inform the future of the ZEP. And that is exactly what we are going to do. You may have heard about the reestablishment of the Immigration Advisory Board. That's one of those forums that I intend to use for us to get expert opinion and really deep insights into how to manage this process going forward. But then also, of course, consultation with the public more broadly. So that's the basic principle, that we need to speak to people who are affected by this permit, people who have the permit, and South Africans more broadly, and find a way forward to manage this in a way that indeed, I think we all agree, and of course there are no more Zimbabwe exemption permits being issued, so it's not really a permit that is alive in that sense, but really we need to then understand how we transition those who hold the permit into the mainstream system and enable them to apply for visas.
And what has been the methodology for them to transition from the ZEP to being permanent residents, I suppose it would be?
Well, it's not necessarily permanent residency. It is mainstream visas. So the kind of applications that anyone else is able to lodge. Back in 2022, a decision was taken to enable this process. And in order for that to happen, there were certain waivers that had to be granted. So, for example, if someone were to apply for a work visa, this is someone who's gainfully employed, contributing to the economy, and who holds a legal ZEP permit, they were then exempted from the need to submit a certificate from the Department of Labor, for example, where this certificate would normally be required if a company was trying to hire a foreign national, and then they would have to say that they couldn't find a South African. In this case, of course, that's nonsensical because this person is already employed. The other element would have been the qualification certification from the South African Qualifications Authority. But unfortunately, the way in which the letters were then sent out to the ZEP holders omitted the second aspect. In other words, the waiver related to the SAQA certificate. And so that's where the tweak comes in, based on legal advice, to make sure that we actually get the letters resent and make it possible to comply with the initial intention of the waiver that comes from 2022, and that'll hopefully unlock a lot of people whose applications have not been processed, so that officials now understand what they need to look for when processing those applications.
The general position then would be that somebody who has a valid ZEP and who has a job should relatively easily be able to regularize his or her position in South Africa and get a normal work permit visa to continue to stay and work in South Africa.
In principle, although it's important to point out that the waiver that's been granted does not actually directly affect the assessment. So in other words, it's not like someone who's granted a waiver has been guaranteed an outcome. So I think it's just important to say that. But in principle, of course, the intention is to reduce the number of people that are on the ZEPs, because as I said, it is by definition a special dispensation. It's not being granted anymore, and that's where I think objectively the uncertainty has come in about its future. So I think any rational person would agree with that directive from 2022, that we make it possible for applicants to transition onto the mainstream visa system, and then also this regulatory change now to actually simply make it possible for us to unlock those applications. I'm hopeful, and keep in mind, John, everything relates back to this backlogs we're dealing with, that if we're able to now actually process these waiver applications by clearing up the uncertainty that surrounded them, given some of these errors, that will also help us to reduce the backlog and speed up the processing in Home Affairs more generally for all applicants.
Is that backlog being reduced? Not only that backlog, but other backlogs which are part of the Home Affairs structure?
Yes, it's really backlogs with an S, unfortunately. The permitting backlog that involves a range of applications in different visa categories, but also for other kinds of sort of related material, that one started out at 306,000 applications as around the end of May this year. We've made meaningful progress on that one. I was able to visit the backlog team last week, and it was actually quite a wonderful experience to be there. The morale is good. People understand that this backlog is affecting service delivery, and it's also affecting the economy when people applying, especially for critical skills visas, aren't able to get those. So there's a real determination to make it work. But what is quite disturbing when you visit that facility is to see the number of paper files that's still around. And so that, I think, really just underscores the need for us to really embark on the digital transformation of Home Affairs going forward.
You're talking about that as something that might happen in the future rather than something you've set in motion already.
I think the digital transformation is far more urgent than anyone realized. I think it is at the root of all the problems we are dealing with, from backlogs to corruption to illegal immigration to poor service delivery. And so that is something that I think needs to be ramped up very aggressively. I'm currently looking at how we can put in place the processes required to scope the work that we need. But really, John, when we think about this problem going forward, I'd ask you to keep in mind the South African Revenue Service. South Africa's done this before. The tax authority had a 100-page paper-based application before e-filing and modernization was introduced in the late 2000s. If I look at what I've learned about Home Affairs over these past few weeks, the problems map over almost exactly to what SARS faced back then. And now we must simply turn Home Affairs into the next SARS. It's that difficult and that easy at the same time.
Thank you very much for making some time for us this afternoon, Dr. Leon Schreiber, Home Affairs Minister.
Okay, there you have it, colleagues. Mangozvinzwira, what the minister said. Okay, from what I heard the minister saying, and what is being peddled nevanu kunzoko kuti no engwende mona apply, I don't think it's wise. What the minister says is takakupai mukana wekuti we are waivering these two regulations in 2022, which means we had to apply for them. We had to apply for a waiver. No parents we with a waiver, and we're never confident when enough documents and that's when you apply. But vasina documents are enough, including SAQA, including letter of Department of Labor. Zikureva kuti kana usina critical skill, you do need to apply for a waiver. Now mind, guys, you still need to go and apply for a waiver. Kana ongoza to apply. What this means is that after you apply a waiver, you are given a waiver certificate. Waiver certificate yanga ichuya is in a regulation 18.3 B ya ichingouya in a 18.3 A. So the minister says now, we say apply my waiver, sorry, achibuda asina 18.B regulation. Ndakukisirai, ndakupai, which means automatically waiver yako yakabuda, waiver certificate yakabuda isina that regulation yabva yatongo ediwa ipapo. So what does that mean? Guys, we need to still go and apply for waiver. Kana tisina ma certificates akakwana, kana tisina zvinodiwa zvese zvakakwana, we still need to go and apply for my waivers. Whatever vakamirira ma waiver, you can still go and apply motorama chances, but I advise you to wait for the outcome of my waiver. Mopu ama certificate, waiver certificate. What do we mean? Can waiver certificate? Waiver certificate, e document rakaita se is. Let me just show it. Waiver certificate. Dilo document waiver certificate that you attach. You attach a PAMA application ako what to mean. This waiver certificate in what was waived and it's really official in a stamp here on my face. I got to sign on a minister. So if you look at it, let me just show you in address yako, reference number yako, then look at that. Application for waiver of requirement of in terms of regulation 18.3A of the Immigration Act 2014. Those are pakuya tsutsanangura kunzi iwe waka-apply for this sakanda akukupa na minister akutaura kuti I'm giving you this, and listen very carefully. If you look at point number 2, I've taken into consideration the following factors, right? You have been granted exemption, ZEP, inenge ne number yacho, the validity of that, zvakanyorwa zvese, nokuti ukushanda kupi. Yes, 2.3, and then your intention zvakanyorwa zvese futi ipapo. Also pedzisira kuti I am satisfied that there is a good reason to waive the requirement in terms of regulation 18.3A. Then inobva yazoti manje nekuti tapuwa imwe yacho 18.3B of the regulations as contemplated on the section 31.2C of the Immigration Act. This is how I understand this, guys. Kana usina this certificate, hauna need yekuenda kumhanya kuna apply usina, because apana anything chikuradza kuti waka apply for waiver. Those waivers haasingopuwa automatic yekuti nekuti wanga waine ZEP takupai waiver. No, that's not what the minister said. Even the previous minister, he was saying to every day, please apply for waivers. apply for permit that you qualify for. So the important way depend up to qualify. If you don't qualify for any of the general visa, then you need to apply for waiver. Waiver kuti minister ndibvisire that regulation iyo yekuti panodiwa sakwa nokuti handina macertificates acho, nokuti panodiwa labor certificate, nekuti hapana murungu wangu hapana kwaakano advertise kuti basa randiri kuita iri harikwanisi kuitwa nemusouth African. You get what I'm saying? So in all, what I'm saying is the interpretation of what the ministers say is being misquoted in the mainstream information circles. Kunzi zvatakanzi zvawaiver izvi, saka it's an automatic right yokumhanya kuno apply for permit. Itai henyu, I think everyone is entitled kuti aite zvaanenge achida, but kana usina this certificate, imbomirai guys, imbomirai. Wait until we get the outcome of your application, then you apply. Otherwise uchano reject. What if atinanga kutaka kupai information is there? So that's my take, guys. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I'll keep on giving you updates as time goes on. Pesapate ndangoana any information inenge relevant to my ZEP wire. Ndinoyani panapo futhi ndichungokupa information yacho. Keep on subscribing, liking and sharing this video. Gonna kubatsira one of or many of our friends and relatives kuti vakwanise kubatsirika now, because this is all we are doing about kuti tikwanise kuti tibatsirane zvinhu zviitire zvakanaka. Thank you so much for listening. Until we meet again in the next video, leave your comments as well in the comment section. I will try to respond to them as much as possible with the thorough, in-depth research and then later based on your questions. Then otherwise, thank you so much. God bless you, and keep on subscribing and sharing this video. Thank you so much.